students, in today's lecture we are going to learn the topics like web.config file, HTML server controls and redirection methods, which are part of chapter number 4, unit number 2. So let's start with the session. So the first question which is already asked in the exam, that is write a note on web.config file. As we have discussed in last lecture, global.asx file, but that particular file is not by default present inside the uh, website which we take from the software, right? But this particular file, that is web.config file, you will always get to see in the solution explorer. So whatever settings we will made to this particular file, that is web.config, that will be applicable to entire web pages which are available or which are part of your website, because we never have more than one web.config file for entire website, which is suppose consisting of 10 web pages or 15 web pages, is going to have only a single web.config file. So whatever configuration related settings we will make to this file, that will be applicable or automatically applied to all the web pages of the website. So this is very important file, and it is a kind of system file. So there are actually different types of configuration files. First file is machine.config file, that is server or machine wide configuration file. And second one is web.config file, the application configuration file, which deals with the single application. So machine.config file means it, if you want to change the settings or configuration related to the server or the machine on which we are running the program, then this particular file we can use, that is machine.config. And the web.config, this particular file is related to only one web application, that is only for one website it is applicable. So first file is machine.config file. Configuration files are applied to an executing site based on hierarchy. There is a global configuration file for all sites in a given machine, which is called as machine.config. Means if we are currently working on one project, okay, and all the projects of a specific company are stored in a server. So if you want to make configuration related setting for all the projects which are stored in a server or in a particular system, then for that purpose we are making use of machine.config file. Okay, so the file is typically found in the drive. If you want to see the machine.config file, the location is given of this particular file, that is in C drive, Windows folder. Go to Microsoft.NET, in that framework is there. In framework we are having v2, that is version 2.0.50727. in this particular folder we are having config directory, which will contain all the configuration files. Okay, so this is the path of machine.config file. Machine.config file contains settings for all websites running on the machine, provided another .config further up to the chain does not override any of these settings. Means once you made the changes to this file, we cannot override the changes. Although machine.config provides a global configuration option, you can use .config file inside the individual website directories to provide more granular control. Means if you want to control all the websites, then and then only in that situation we are making use of this type of file. So for different projects also we can set this file, that is for different project we will be having different machine.config file. So application configuration file, the next type of file is application configuration file, that is web.config, which is common for different website. That is for each website we are having one config file, only one config file. This is important sentence. Each and every ASP.NET application has its own copy of configuration setting stored in a file called web.config. If the web application spans multiple folders. Each subfolder has its own web.config file that inherits or overrides the parent's file setting. So means we are having one web application, in that again we are taking a new website. So for each and every website we are going to have the separate web.config file. Basically we are not using or we are not creating a website like that manner. In a single website we will be having all the web pages only. We never take more projects or more website in the single website. So this is the meaning of this sentence. So web.config, from the example actually it will be clear to you. So the next is processing of web.config file. When you initially run your web application, the runtime builds a cache of configuration setting for your web application by flattering the layer of configuration file as below. Now whatever practicals which we have done in that is in websites only we did, but we never change the code of web.config file. This is the reason you may not be knowing that what is the content of web.config file. But as it is a part of website, so whenever we run even a single web page currently, still that it will affect the settings or for the execution of that particular web page. Before executing the web page, the compiler will check the configuration settings which we are written inside web.config file, and if there is no settings, then the information related to the web.config file will be stored inside the output cache, because that is needed when a specific event is called, when a specific page event is called. So the first step, even though we are writing the content inside the web.config file or not, still that particular file is compiled by the compiler. But before execution or before the processing, there are some certain steps which occur. So the first step is the machine.config file settings are written. First point is, whenever we run the application, the machine.config file settings are checked. The settings from the root web.config files are added to the cache. After that, the second statement is settings which we have written inside web.config file, they are added to the output cache. After that, if there is a web.config file at the root of the website, this file is read into the cache. All overwriting any existing setting, the resulting cache contains the setting for this website. So if it is a root file means if we made the changes inside a web file, means basically sometimes we provide our database address or database location in web.config file, so that in other web pages we don't have to again and again create the SQL connection. We have already written the code related to SQL connection inside the web.config file, so that particular code will be applicable to all the pages. So for on each and every page we don't need to create SQL connection separately. Okay, so the sentence of this meaning is, now for all the web pages, so whenever we are starting executing the web pages, the content, that is SQL connection, we have just using the connection in the web pages, but we have created the connection in web.config file. Means now in this situation, web.config file is the main file, root file, which contains the SQL connection, which is referred in different web pages. So in that situation, if we have written such type of code in web.config file, then web.config file is considered as a root file, and even though we have run the single page or single web page, still first the content or the settings which we have written inside web.config file, that will be stored inside the output cache, and then the web pages which are present in the website will get compiled. So this is the meaning of this file. If web.config file is at the root of the website, then this file is read into the cache first, and resulting the cache contains the setting for the websites. Then we have, if you have subdirectories in your web application, each subdirectory can have one web.config file that includes settings that are specific to the files and folders that are contained. Means suppose in current website you have imported one more website from the outside. So in that situation you will be having two websites. So for two websites you will be having two web.config file. So the meaning of sentence is this, but as I said previously, we never did this thing in a means always in a solution explorer we try to have only one website at a time, not one website which contains the other one. So like that we never have the settings. So configuration file is used to manage various settings that define a website. So as I told you previously, that is first example I have taken, that is we create, if you want to create a connection, SQL connection only once, and we want that particular connection to be utilized by the web pages, the n number of web pages which are present in website, then just to have such type of requirement we have to create SQL connection in web.config file, so that it can be refer or it can be used by the web pages which are present in a website. So configuration file basically consisting of so many tags, and basically these tags are not HTML tags. We are having or we can say that the web configuration file, web.configuration file, it is a type of XML file which contains its own tags. So we don't have configuration tag in HTML. So this is nothing but the XML. Why we are making use of XML? If you want to create our own tag, so for that purpose we are using XML. So now here we are having configuration. So configuration means if you want to set or if you want to create SQL connection, so that particular code you can add inside the configuration tag. In configuration tag just use connection string tag, and in connection string we are having the path or the connection which you want to create. Actually in unit number 4 and 5 we are going to learn, not in 5 but in unit number 4 we are going to learn the database connectivity. That time it will be clear, that is why we should make use of web.config file. So basically if you want to create SQL connection, for that purpose you can use SQL web.config file. After that, if you want to set the, we can say that username and password, for that purpose also you can make use of web.config file. So if you want to perform authentic configuration setting, after that if you want to add authentication setting means the by default page which will get open when we start running the program, whether we are having cookieless session or cookie session, what will be the timeout, means after log into the system, after how many seconds the system will automatically will get the session expire message. So all such settings are done inside authentication setting, and for that purpose we are making use of authentication tag. Okay, and also we can do the authorization setting also, that is if you want to give admin and user access, so that is kind of authorization setting which you can use or which we can do in web.config file. So this much is there about web.config file. Then there is one topic in this chapter, that server controls. So basically we are having three types of server control. First one is HTML server control, second is web server control, and third one is validation server control. We are going to learn about all these types of control. In chapter number 4 we are going to learn only one control, that is HTML server control. The remaining two kinds of server control, that is web server control and validation server control, are part of chapter number 5 of unit number 2. So we will learn that later. But what is basic advantages of having server controls? And basic advantages to whom? That is ASP.NET developers advantages. So we can access, because of server control, we can access the HTML elements easily from within our code. That is, we are simply having controls which are present in the toolbox. When we double click on the control, that particular control will automatically get added into a web page. So it is very easy to access the HTML elements. Second, ASP.NET controls retain their properties even after the page has been processed. So view state prevents the user from losing the data that has already been entered into from once it has been sent to the server for processing. We are having one thing, that is view state, which is a part of state management topic. So we are going to learn about the view state later, but because of view state, the state of the control, that is whether it is checked, unchecked, so like that information is saved because of view state, so that the same information, if you want, we can use it for further execution. And basically when the view state will contain the information when we are using the text box, when we are changing the text box value, or when we are selecting the drop down list, that is we are having list box, combo box. So if we are selecting the items from them, so that time the selection state should be saved somewhere. So that is done with the help of view state. And next advantage is, with the ASP.NET control, developers are able to separate the presentational element and application logic of a page so that each can be considered separately. Like now the type of coding which we are doing, that is code behind, right? Means we are having separate interface file is separate, and we are having coding file, that is logic file, separate. So this is the advantages for the ASP.NET developer because of ASP server controls. So the first server control which we are going to learn, that is HTML server control. HTML server control are basically the standard HTML controls enhanced to enable server side processing. The HTML controls such as header tags are there, anchor tags are there, input elements are not processed by the server but are set to the browser for the display. Means different heading tags. Header tags means we are using script tag, head tag. Anchor tag is there. Anchor tag means hyperlink tag, the tag with the help of which we can create the hyperlink. So all such controls we are using, that is not displayed but we are using in the program, without which it is not possible to switch from one website to other or to have the input. So basically these tags specially converted to the server control by adding attribute run at server. Means if we are using form tag, only form tag, then that is HTML tag. But when you put form tag in a form tag, if you are adding the attribute run at equal to server, so that particular form tag, which is HTML control, is now converted to HTML server control. So HTML server control means all the controls which are, or all the tags which are available in HTML are that particular tag we can run at the browser because of HTML server control by writing run at equal to server. So whenever we are putting run at equal to server in any HTML tag, that is considered as a HTML server control. So what are the advantages of HTML server control? ASP.NET server controls can perform every job accomplished by the HTML server control. The latter controls are useful in the following cases, that is using static tables for the layout purpose and converting HTML page to run under the ASP.NET. These are the advantages of having HTML server control. Okay, we can create a static table as well as we can have a HTML page which is run under the ASP.NET. So these are the basic HTML server controls which are available in ASP.NET. So first control name is HTML head. So head tag which is present in a .aspx page, so that is nothing but the HTML server control. Then we have HTML input button. So we have not used this particular tag, but if you want to take input from the user, then input type equal to button also we can set, input type equal to submit or input type equal to reset. So these three types of buttons we are having. Then the next control is HTML input checkbox. So input type equal to checkbox. Then we are having input file. So input type equal to file. Next control is HTML input hidden. Hidden input, that is if you want to have hidden text box, then in that situation we can make use of input type equal to hidden. After that we are having HTML input image. If you want to add image as a input, then in that situation we can make use of input type equal to image also. Then input password. So these are the actually fields. Input password means whenever we will writing input type equal to password, when we run the program by writing this line, you will get to see one text box. But when you enter the value into that text box, that will not be display as it is, means as this happened in normal text boxes. If we are entering the A key from the keyboard, the A will get displayed. But whenever we are entering password, the password text is not visible. Some asterisk or some bullets will be displayed. So for if you want to enter such type of, that is if you want to take password, then you have to make use of input type equal to password field. Then if you want to have radio buttons, then we have input type equal to radio. Similarly, input type equal to reset also we are having. Then HTML text means if you want to take a text, then type equal to text or type equal to password you can use. Type equal to text means you can enter a text which will be displayed or visible to the user. And if you are using type equal to password, then bullets, in the form of bullets, the text will get display in a text box. HTML image, that is img tag is there. HTML link element is there. Link element means this program we are going to learn, that is in next unit we are going to learn cascading style sheet. So style sheet we are going to use. In that we are going to make use of this particular link tag which is used to connect external .css file. Then we have a tag. If you want to create hyperlink, then that name of the control is HTML anchor. So HTML anchor is nothing but a tag which is used to create the hyperlink. Then we have HTML button. So if you want button, then you can make use of button tag. Like button, we are having form tag, table tag. In table tag we are having total 3 tags, that is tr tag is there which is used to create table row. Then td tag we are having, that is if you want to insert table data. And there is one more tag, that is th, that is table heading. Whatever you will write inside the th tag, that will get display in bold, and whatever you write inside td tag, that will get display normal font. It will not display the content in bold. So this is the difference between th and td. And tr tag we use to create the row. Then we have title tag also, the title which we want to display on the browser, that we can provide inside title tag. Then we have HTML select element, and the last one is HTML generic control. So HTML, all the HTML controls not listed here, but if you are having a if you have installed the software ASP.NET, then you are having toolbox. In toolbox everything is given actually, that is validation control, web server control, HTML control. Along with these headings only they have provided the controls, so that you can refer. Then the last question for today's lecture, that is explain different methods to perform redirection in code. So redirection means when we want to move from one page to other. Okay, so there is one actually statement which we are using, that is response.write. This particular statement which commonly used when we want to switch from one page to other. Means for this we can take example, that is I have run the ASPX page, that is abc.aspx page, on which button is there. And on button I have written some code like response.write xyz.aspx. So when you run abc.aspx and when you click on that button, the control, or you will switch to the new page, that is xyz.aspx, because of response.write. Means because of redirect method, that is you are switching from one page to other. Like in case of HTML we are making use of anchor tag to switch or to move to the new page. So that question is there, that is which different methods which we can use to perform redirection. So to perform redirection in a code, you first need a control that cause the page to be posted back. That is we should have certain events, that is just now I said, that is on button click I want to switch from the current page to this specific page. So we should have some event handler. This is the first. Whenever we want to perform redirection in a code, then we should need one event handler. Okay. Just to have a specific event, we can make use of HTML input button control or HTML anchor. HTML anchor means we can make use of a tag. So when the page is posted back and your event handler runs, you can use the HTTP response.redirect method. So just remember, this is one method which we use to create redirection in a code, that is HTTP response.redirect, to send the user to the new page. You can get access to the current HTTP response object through the page.response property. When you use the redirect method, ASP.NET immediately stop processing the page, that is current page, and send a redirect message back to the browser. Any code that occurs after redirect call won't be executed. Means if you are written some code in button one underscore click as HTTP response.redirect into round bracket xyz.aspx, and after this line you are having one more line response.redirect hello world. So what will happen, as you are having the first line in button one underscore click event as response.redirect, the we can say that call from the current page will move to the xyz.aspx. So after response HTTP response.redirect, the sentence which we have written response.write, that will not get executed. So this is the meaning of this sentence. Means whenever we are having HTTP response.redirect method, because of this method we are directly redirecting from current page to the new page. So the code which is present after that particular sentence will not get executed. When the browser receives the redirect message, it sends a request for a new page. Okay. So you can use the redirect method to send the user to any type of page. You can even send the user to another website. It's not case that always in HTTP response.write you have to make use of .aspx page only. If you want to move after clicking on a button, if you want to visit www.amazon.in, then just provide the URL of that particular site. So it's not necessary that we can move to a single page only. If you want, we can move to a separate website also. That is, control will move to the new website with the help of this method. ASP.NET gives you one other option for sendings. First option was what? HTTP response.redirect method, with the help of which we can move from one page to other. Similarly, we are having one more option also, that is HTTP server utility transfer. So HTTP server utility transfer method, instead of response.redirect, you can make use of this method, HTTP server utility transfer. An HTTP server utility object is provided through the page.server property. So your redirection code will look so there you are having one more method with the help of which you can send the user to the new page, that is HTTP server utility transfer method. Okay, so in place of response.redirect you can make use of response.transfer method also. So they have given just example in a slide, that is server.transfer into round bracket new page.aspx. The advantages of using transfer method is that it does not involve the browser. Instead of sending a redirect message back to the browser, ASP.NET simply start processing a new page as though the user had originally requested that page. This behavior saves a bit time, but it also introduces some significant limitations. So if we compare these two methods, that is redirect and transfer, in redirect method, from the current page, the request is sent to the browser will process it and then display the new page. So it takes some time. But in case of transfer method, from the current page, the user will be directly transferred to the new page, so that this particular processing time of sending the request to the browser, then browser will get a reply, will reduce. But still we are having some limitations for the transfer method. You can't use transfer method to send a user to another website, which is possible with the redirect method. With redirect method, we can move to new web page as well as to new website. But if you want to move to only web page, which is a part of current website, then you can make use of transfer method. You cannot make use of transfer method to move the user from one website to other website. So this is first limitation. Transfer method allows you to jump only from one ASP.NET page to another. This same sentence I have specified, that is, from one web page we can move to other web page, which is part of, both the web page should be part of same website only, not other website. When you transfer or when you use the transfer, the user won't have any idea that another page has taken over, because the browser will still show the original URL. URL will not change. You will move to the new page, but their URL changing is not there. Means browser is not having any idea that the user has changed the page. So this can cause a problem if you want to support browser bookmarks. So when you will run the page, or if you see the history, you will get the original page where we have used the transfer method. After clicking on button, if we have transferred to other page, so that page URL you will not able to see in the history tab. So this is the meaning of this sentence. So it's much more common to use HTTP response redirect in place of transfer. So we have second option, but we are not using it. Why? That we have already seen. So this much is there in today's lecture. I hope these 3 questions are clear to you, and all 3 questions are already asked in the exam. So these are very, very important questions. First is web config file. So if you want to make configuration, authorization, authentication setting, so for that purpose we can make use of web.config file. And for each website we are having only one web.config file, and which is by default present in the web page when we take new website. Then second question which we have learned, that is, there are so many server controls, out of which we have learned only one control, that is HTML server control. So if we are using any HTML tag, and in the tag if we are adding one attribute, that is run at equal to server, then that particular control will become an HTML server control. Only HTML or only form tag is a HTML control, and when we are having form space run at equal to server, then it will be HTML server control. So like that we are having so many other server control. And the next question which is already asked in the exam, that is redirection methods. So we are having 2 redirection method. First one is HTTP response.redirect, and the second one is HTTP server utility.transfer. Okay, so if you want to make use of this method, you just have to write down server.transfer, and if you want to make use of redirect method, then response.redirect you can use. And I hope the differences are clear between the redirect method and the transfer method. There are some limitations for the transfer method. So because of such limitations, it is best to use redirect method only whenever we want to move from one page to other. So this much is there in today's lecture. Thank you very much. Stay home, stay safe.